welcome back to the Lituation. It's a conversation about a situation or something like that. Either way, by the end of the show, you will know exactly what we're talking about. Today's episode, episode 9, is about faculty and family. Now, what does that mean? Okay, we're talking about like your relationships with your faculty, but also your family. Like you've reached a point in your age, in your age and in your career matriculation or college matriculation where your parents don't have to necessarily know about your grades. Your grades can go right to you. Like you have full control and rights over yourself, right? And your life, your academic life, right? How did your parents react to, kind of you all being adults when you kind of or being more adult, right? When you transition into college?
First of all, when I was in school, grades came in the mail.
Oh.
They didn't come via email.
It was the mail, but no email.
But it was also the rule that I take care of you, says my parents. So I see the grades, says my parents. Right. So it wasn't a thing.
Yeah. What about you, Mickey?
I feel like for me, my mama didn't really check in on my grades and stuff like that, but I would put my stuff on Facebook because, baby, I was getting 4.0s. Okay. Yes. I was getting 4.0s. My mindset was... That's my testimony. My mindset when I came into undergrad, I was like, I have a 4.0, right? I have a 4.0. Oh, and all I have to do to keep this 4.0 is go to class, follow the instructions, and that's it. So I did my work, I came on home, and that was it.
I've never shared this story publicly. My first semester, I did terribly, which was devastating to me because I did well always from elementary school all throughout. I think I didn't, because I lived and grew up in such a conservative, strict environment. That first semester, honey, that freedom, baby. I didn't know how to steward it.
You didn't know what to
I was studying other things, so, I didn't do well. But it took really creating a tribe around me, and particularly some faculty that is actually still in my life that became like family. And they were the ones who really rallied around me and helped me course correct some of the bad decisions I made in the first semester. And I think that's so important because it's not that I wasn't a bad student, because I've shown myself to be studious, but I just didn't have the structure. I didn't know how to use the freedom wisely.
Yeah, it was like kid in candy store. Everything free. I had that same experience. Like my first year was not the best, and it was definitely, I underperformed compared to my high school, grades and things like that. And it was mainly because I was free, right? And it was like, I don't even know what to do with this, but I'm about to do it. I'm about to do everything. I'm about to do everything. And
no really, regrets.
Right. YOLO. That song was out.
I think
do the worst first.
I think what starts to happen is...
I learned that later.
I think you start to parent yourself of sorts. Yeah. Like you start to learn and realize, okay, what I've been doing is not going to work. But also having...
It was a blessing having mom dudes not see them grades.
Right.
Honestly, I told y'all in the earlier episode, I flunked out. My mom didn't know I flunked out until... I told her.
Flunked out me flunked out
semesters
you had to do
how extreme, if you don't mind that.
How extreme, fan. The GPA when I left the school, I think it was a 0.5. We was out here.
Oh, they were in the street.
You were in there. Did you just not show up at all, or did you show up and do nothing?
Did you breathe when you were in class?
You just paid for nothing.
No, that's facts. Once I realized that, that investment you're making in your education
is money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. It was fam.
Watch that money episode. This is you.
Yeah. Well, another thing for me is when you realize that you can make relationships with not only faculty but staff. Yeah. They can help you make better decisions. And I'm like, hey, I'm taking 12 and 13 credit hours when I could be doing a little more. You know, let's not prolong these loans.
This journey.
Right. Let's do a little more. Let's push a little harder. And so you have people in your corner that are encouraging you to take different classes, or you may not want to take a particular professor, or whatever it is. You find those people that are in your corner that can support you.
Yeah,
It was actually faculty that gave me the do the worst first, because they knew I was me, and I was me all around everybody.
Right,
We was keeping the party going.
Right, and I was the fun dude to be around, and they was like, well, your grades ain't, and it's like, fam, I could, and they knew I could do the work, and it wasn't that wasn't the question, but the question was where I was placing my time and prioritizing it, and it was a faculty person that was like, no, you got to do, handle this so you can be you when you go out.
Right.
One of the things that really helped me in managing my courses and things like that, my faculty advisor, my admissions advisor, gave me a sheet of paper, and on the sheet of paper it had all of the requirements for the program, and it was your first year, take 2 of these, and it had the list of all of the classes, and that really helped me because it had all of the classes that I could potentially take and the number of classes that I actually needed to take to fulfill the requirement.
Right.
And I would say anybody who could gain access to something like that is really helpful in understanding your way through, because I also had a lot of friends who walked the stage, and then a couple of months later the university is sending them a letter in the mail saying, actually, no.
Come back.
Wow.
That's really important.
That would be devastating.
On your school website, most schools and stuff like that, they'll have degree completion plans that you can print out and follow and check off for yourself. And just to give everybody an update, I did eventually graduate with my bachelor's and now my master's.
Right. Big ups. We got claps for that.
We made it.
You know what I'm saying? One of them
Corrected those issues, the 0.5s, and sheesh. Actually, I was in the honor society when I graduated both times.
Period.
Okay.
Come on.
Come back. With the comeback. You know what I'm saying?
Those grades resurrected.
Just resurrected. Amen.
It was a Lord.
It was just a time period in your life that you had. Right.
Into the light.
But you know what faculty was really helpful for me and eventually led me to the faith-based organizations on campus, where the people that was I'm praying for you, or reminded you to the core of who you were. And when I got connected with, I think it was InterVarsity on my undergrad campus, it provided me an outlet to enjoy undergrad, but also kind of anchor myself, that I think was really important as I matriculated through undergrad. And I would say, get connected to your faith communities. Go ahead and party, enjoy. But also, you need to have a sense of who you are, who you're becoming, who you want to be. And that faith community is going to keep you grounded and anchored. I love that about our network. That you see the campuses and the campus ministries and the Wesley foundations.
And being able to find that balance. I know I didn't have the balance. I was like, that's too much. I want to be over here with the cool kids.
Right. So
but what does that really mean?
Even find church homes or the faith-based, definitely on campus. But church homes, I know for me, were very important. It helped me kind of create that family away from family. At least someone to look out for you. Hey, if you don't hear from me,
don't let it be a pastor that also work at the church. Work at the school. You in there. You go get financial aid and you go.
Or even
gonna play that at the church.
Knowing that someone is looking out for you or even looking for you, because they had a little church van that would honk in front of the complex.
Someone who got your spiritual growth in mind.
Yeah.
My journey towards my faith community on a college campus was very different, because I don't know if this is true for you, Brennan, but on the predominantly white institutions campus, the campus ministry, they don't necessarily look like me, right? So for me, my faith ministry was honestly my sorority. A part of the chapter, we have a chaplain, and one of our advisors, she was kind of a local in DeKalb, and she was a local at the church that was there. So she kind of kept us involved in the church that was in the community. And for me, that's kind of where I feel I was actually the chaplain for the chapter.
And look at you now, Mickey.
And it's something that honestly just came back to me as I've been connected with NYA. Dang, I did. I was the chaplain.
You were prepared for it.
Period.
Right.
But I say all that to to say that don't think that you're not connected to a faith community just because it's not an intervarsity or because it's not campus or collegiate ministry. There is faith permeating in a lot of different organizations on campus. Absolutely. And you can find God and be with God in those places and in those spaces as well.
And that's honestly, I mean, sometimes that's the place where you can honestly you build your own faith. And that's the one thing that I learned through that process is to build my own faith, and it's not based on my attendance of church.
Yeah.
It's a part of it.
Because you
my,
are
my
church.
attendance of
going
to church, going to Bible
Attention.
study, it's a part of it, but my faith is more built now on my relationship with God, not my relationship with the church.
So even as you get strong in your faith, or just even the academic, or just your matriculation to the university, with your family and friends, right now you may have become like a goal, right, in life.
Yeah.
How do you manage that with like maybe your younger cousins or other family where you're connected with them and maybe influencing them to like do something? Did you? Yeah. Well, I guess the question is like, did you notice that there was a moment when you're like, yo, I'm goals for somebody?
Yes.
Yeah. What was that like?
Yeah. That pivotal moment when you feel like the butterfly effect, whatever I do is going to affect someone else and the next person and the next person.
It was my nieces when I graduated with undergrad. They came down from New York to Little Rock, and I walked across the stage, did all of that stuff, and like I'm just chilling with family afterwards, and my niece just looked up and she was like, "Uncle, I want to do this," and like I'm like, I can't cry right now.
Right.
It was that moment. It was that realization. Like somebody else is looking at
You're doing it for somebody else and not yourself.
Okay, my story is a little interesting.
Everybody's all tearing up.
I definitely want to hear Nathan's too.
The moment I realized I was goals, I was dropping off an Old Bay.
Old Bay.
Right?
Oh, wow.
An Old Bay.
Not the seasoning.
An Old Bay. That I had some bad experiences with. And I remember driving to drop this man off, and the whole thing I could think of in my head was, if you was looking at you on the outside, you would be like, you a goofy. You are a goofy. It's
Sometimes
women, girls, people who look up to you, and you doing this.
Right.
Just imagine if those people who look up to you knew you was doing this.
Right.
It's personal accountability.
Oh my goodness.
Right. Well, and that's really important, and that's what I hear. Just with all these conversations, it's just there's a certain level of personal accountability and growth that you like realize within yourself. Like, you know what? I gotta be goals for me. What was it like for you?
And not only that, like, so for me, it was like, think about all the sacrifices that people made so that I can be in college.
Mm-hmm.
The moment that I graduated undergrad, and my mom, my dad, my brothers who didn't have the privilege to go, and how proud they were of me, was like the moment that made me realize that it wasn't just me. It was like all of my professors that held me accountable, that opened up doors for and opportunities for me. And then I went back to my church home after I graduated undergrad. But I took a little gap between I started my next master's, which was Ivy League. So that was like mind-blowing for me that we were able to accomplish that. And there was a little girl who is still my mentee today, Joelle.
Oh.
And I took all of the young people on college tours because they just didn't see that as an opportunity. And that was the moment that I was like, for everyone that invested in me, I'm going to continue to give back. And then we look at the National Network of Young Adults now, like that's not just my home church now. That's on several campuses. And I think that's how we have to live our lives. Like,
very similar story.
Everything that people deposited in you.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's really important. If I think about from a personal standpoint, the moment for me was when I became homecoming king, but like the year after.
When there was another one?
Yeah, when I had to acknowledge the next one. And then I realized, like, yo, my name and my likeness is forever associated with this university as the first. So, like, I can come back 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now and still have this, like, this kind of badge, and it was like it was a big deal.
It's
at
a
the time,
legacy.
but it was, and it wasn't a big deal. And sometimes I would almost be like a little ashamed to say it, like, oh, I was the first homecoming king at the university. Like, but no, like that's actually like something that's cool. Along with all, I did graduate. I'm not one of those who like goes to homecoming, but I graduated.
It's okay, you do.
But just realizing that I think within ourselves is really important to know, and even for the viewers, if you're in college, know that like you're setting the mark and the legacy, like you're creating a new bottom for your family. There's a new bottom that exists with you, and what are you going to contribute to yourself, but also what are you going to leave so that someone else can come up from that as it relates to your entire academic life, your career, and just your life overall.
Facts.
Yeah, very similar story to yours, Nathalie. I didn't realize that it was something special about a black female graduating with an engineering degree.
Wow.
Until I moved to Michigan. And so many people, I'm like, but all my friends did too, you know.
Right.
But we all were special, you know. We all were anomaly. So I did the same thing you did. I partnered with my church, and we started to take black kids from Michigan, from the Detroit area, on college tours to HBCUs. So we, during their spring break, we drove them from Michigan all the way to Atlanta, Florida, FAM, Tuskegee. On the off year, we would go East Coast. So Howard, Morgan State, you know, all of those schools.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize. I just thought, oh, that was my major. I did it, you know. And so it was nothing special about me, but what I did for other little girls.
I took, you know what, there's a young lady who goes to, I want to say she goes to Tennessee State. It's HBCU in Tennessee somewhere. It's
Tennessee State.
Okay, yeah.
There's a couple of them.
She goes there or Wilberforce.
Shout out to Tennessee State, Fisk University.
I sent her to NIU, and recently she sent me a text message and said, I knew you would be really successful. You always had your head in the right place, and I'm actually very grateful that I met you. I remember the day you brought me to your house and took me to NIU and had me meet some of your professors, and that really helped me go into school.
Oh.
One day!
That's all it takes. That's
One
literally,
day.
Yeah, that's literally all it takes. And I think that's the
That's
importance
it.
about this episode is like we're talking about faculty and family, but like we're responsible, one, for leaving a legacy, but also we have the chance to live a legacy. And that's the power in just embracing where you are in your life,
To
one,
lift up a
but
legacy.
just to lift up a
Right.
legacy.
Don't just receive it.
There are so many
Like,
opportunities.
give it.
One of my favorite quotes is actually from Reverend William Marvison in Little Rock, and he literally says Christianity isn't about telling your own story.
Come on
it's
now.
about creating a story for somebody else.
Oh, wow, that's good.
I think that's a great
good.
way to close.
Yeah.
Yo, we appreciate you all for tuning in for this episode of Lituation. It's a conversation about a situation, but I think you know more about what you need to know more about. Either way, I'm Derek Walker.
And I'm Candy Kyler. Be sure to live your legacy.
Oh, I love that. I'm Nathan Dessa Parker.
I'm a Mickey Grace.
And I'm B.
Yo, we out. We'll see y'all next time. Peace out.